Harin stood before the massive gates of the Celestial Apex Institute and felt her heart racing inside her chest. The Academy floated in space, orbiting two bright suns that cast golden light across its silver towers. Ships from 100 different worlds docked at the ports, carrying students who dreamed of becoming the galaxy's finest warriors and leaders. But Harin was different from all of them. She carried a secret that could get her killed. She touched the skin suit that covered her real appearance. The gray synthetic material made her look like a Velindran, one of the weaker species in the galaxy. Velindrans were thin and fragile, with large eyes and gentle voices. Nobody would suspect that beneath the disguise, she was human. Nobody could know. Humans were supposed to be extinct, gone for 200 years after something called the Silence made Earth, and all its colonies disappear from space. But humans weren't dead. They were hiding. Harin was one of them, sent by a secret group called the Scattered to learn the truth about what happened to her people. The Academy's computers held ancient records that might explain everything. She just had to survive long enough to find them. "Move along, initiate," a mechanical voice said behind her. Harin stepped forward through the scanning gates. Blue light washed over her body, checking her identity papers. The forged document said she was Velrin of Velindra, a minor colony world. The scanner beeped approval, and she breathed out slowly. First test passed. The Academy's entrance hall was enormous, with a ceiling so high it seemed to touch the stars. Hundreds of new students filled the space, speaking in dozens of languages. Harin saw Thoraxians with their insect-like bodies and sharp claws, Luminari whose skin glowed with soft blue light, and Mechari who were half machine and half living flesh. Everyone looked strong and confident. She had to remember to act weak and uncertain like a real Velindran would. "Attention, initiates," a loud voice boomed through the hall. A massive krill appeared on a floating platform above them. His reptilian scales were covered in battle scars, and his yellow eyes swept across the crowd. "I am Instructor Kong Day. Welcome to the Celestial Apex Institute. You believe you are special because you are accepted here. You are wrong. Only 10% of you will graduate. The rest will fail, break, or quit. We train the galaxy's protectors, not children playing soldier." Harin watched as some students shifted nervously. Kong Day continued speaking about honor, duty, and sacrifice. She had heard speeches like this before, back when the Scattered trained her on a hidden asteroid station. But those teachers had been kind. This instructor looked like he enjoyed making students suffer. "You will now be assigned to combat squads," Kong Dai announced. "These will be your team for the entire first year. Trust them with your life, or die alone." A holographic screen appeared in front of Harin, displaying 3 names along with her own. Squad 7. She read the species classifications and felt her stomach tighten. A Thoraxian warrior, a Luminari empath, and a Mechari tactician. All of them were from strong species. They would expect her to be the weak link. She found Squad 7's meeting area in a corner of the hall. A huge Thoraxian stood there, his exoskeleton gleaming black and red. Beside him was a Luminari female whose skin pulsed with gentle light, and a Mechari whose left arm and eye had been replaced with advanced cybernetics. "So you are our 4th member," the Thoraxian said, looking down at Harin with obvious disappointment. "A Velindran. They give us a creature that breaks if you touch it." "My name is Harin," she said quietly, keeping her voice soft like a Velindran should. "I will try not to slow you down." The Thoraxian snorted. "I am Day 1, warrior of the 5th Hive. This is Ji Wu of the Luminari Depths, and Tae Yi of the Mechari Collective. Remember these names when we carry you through training." Ji Wu studied Harin with curious eyes. The Luminari stepped closer and tilted her head. "You feel strange," she said softly. Your emotions are not like other Velindrans I have met. Harin's pulse quickened. Luminari were empaths who could sense feelings. She had been warned about this, trained to keep her emotions calm and controlled. I am nervous, Harin said, which was true. This place is overwhelming. Everything is overwhelming to Velindrans, Day One muttered. Come, we must find our barracks before orientation ends. The squad moved through the academy's corridors. Harin noticed how Day One walked with aggressive confidence, while Tei's cybernetic eye scanned everything with cold calculation. Ji Wu stayed close to Harin, still watching her with that unsettling curiosity. Their barracks was a simple room with 4 sleeping pods and a shared equipment locker. Harin chose the pod furthest from the others, knowing she would need privacy to maintain her disguise. The neural dampener built into her skin suit suppressed her human vital signs, but it was uncomfortable and sometimes glitched. She couldn't let anyone see her real heart rate or body temperature. First training exercise is tomorrow at dawn, tie-eyed announced, reading from a datapad. Zero-gravity combat simulation. My calculations suggest a 37% chance that one of us will be injured. Good, Day One said, cracking his knuckles with a sound like breaking wood. I want to fight. Harin lay in her pod that night, staring at the ceiling. Through the window, she could see stars scattered across the darkness. Somewhere out there was Earth, hidden behind some kind of barrier that had kept humans trapped and forgotten for 2 centuries. Her parents had died never seeing their home world, living in secret on a mining station, where humans pretended to be other species. She had volunteered for this mission because she was young and adaptable, because she could pass for Velindran with the right disguise. But now, surrounded by aliens who could kill her with one mistake, she wondered if she had made a terrible choice. Her fingers touched a small device hidden in her sleeve. It was a communicator that connected to the Scattered's network. If she was discovered, she could press it, and someone might help her escape. But using it would expose the Scattered's location and endanger thousands of hidden humans. She was on her own. The next morning came too quickly. Squad 7 assembled in the training deck, a massive chamber with walls that could shift into any environment. Today, it was set for 0 gravity. Harin felt her stomach drop as the artificial gravity turned off and they began to float. Your objective is simple. Instructor Kongdae's voice echoed through the chamber. Survive the drones. Work together or die separately. Red lights appeared in the darkness, and Harin heard the whine of charging weapons. The training had begun, and she had to be careful. Velindrans were weak and slow. She had to fight like one, even though every human instinct screamed at her to move faster, hit harder, survive at any cost. The first drone fired, and Squad 7 scattered into the shadows. Harin pushed off a wall, controlling her strength, making herself float clumsily like she was supposed to. But inside, her human mind was already calculating trajectories, planning strategies, doing what humans had always done best, adapting to survive. 3 months had passed since Harin arrived at the academy, and she had become very good at pretending to be weak. Every morning she trained with Squad 7, deliberately missing shots and stumbling during exercises. She let Day One protect her in combat drills and accepted his frustrated comments about Velindrans being useless in battle. It hurt her pride, but it kept her alive. The academy had broken many students already. Harin watched them leave on transport ships, crying or injured or simply giving up. The training was brutal. They fought in extreme heat and freezing cold, practiced combat in toxic atmospheres, and studied tactics until their minds felt numb. But Harin endured it all, just like humans always endured. Today was different, though. Today they faced real danger. Listen carefully. Instructor Kongdae addressed the assembled squads in the briefing room. You will board a derelict space station in the outer reaches. It was abandoned during the border wars. Your mission is to navigate through it, retrieve a data core from the command center, and return. War drones still patrol the station. They are old but fully armed. If you die, it is because you are not good enough. Harin felt ice in her stomach. This wasn't a simulation with safety protocols. This was real combat with real death. Squad 7 boarded a transport shuttle with 3 other squads. Nobody spoke much during the flight. Even Day 1 was quiet, checking his weapons with unusual care. Ji-Woo's skin flickered with nervous purple light, and Tae-Yi ran constant calculations on his data. The space station loomed ahead, a twisted mass of metal and broken solar panels. It had been damaged badly during some ancient battle, with holes torn in its hull and entire sections floating loose in the void. The shuttle docked at an airlock that still had power, and the squads entered in their combat suits. Inside, the station was dark and cold. Their helmet lights cut through the blackness, revealing corridors filled with debris. Harin stayed close to her squad, moving carefully through the wreckage. Her suit sensors picked up movement deeper in the station, but she couldn't tell if it was drones or just floating metal. Tae-Yi, where is the command center? Day 1 asked. The Mechary projected a holographic map. 3 levels down, central axis. We need to pass through the engineering section. They moved through corridors that had once been full of life, but now held only ghosts. Harin saw old equipment, broken computers, even a child's toy floating past her helmet. People had lived here once, before the war destroyed everything. The engineering section was a massive chamber, filled with old reactors and cooling systems. Catwalks crisscrossed above a dark pit where the main reactor had been. The squad moved along one catwalk when Tae-Yi suddenly stopped. I detect movement, he said. Multiple signatures. Drones. Red lights activated throughout the chamber. Dozens of war drones emerged from hiding spots, their weapons humming to life. These were military-grade machines designed to kill without mercy. Defensive positions. Day 1 shouted dot. The drones opened fire. Energy bolts streaked through the darkness, striking the catwalk and sending sparks flying. Squad 7 scattered, finding cover behind old machinery. Harin crouched behind a coolant tank, her heart pounding. She fired her weapon at the drones, missing intentionally like a panicked Valindran would, but she was analyzing the situation like a human. She counted 12 drones, noted their patrol patterns, identified their weak points. She saw that Tae-Yi was exposed on the catwalk, his cybernetic systems making him an easy target for the drone's sensors. Tae-Yi, move. Ji-Woo screamed. 3 drones focused their weapons on the Mechary. Tae-Yi tried to dodge, but his mechanical leg malfunctioned, damaged by a glancing shot. He stumbled and fell on the catwalk as the drones prepared to fire again. Harin saw it happening in slow motion. Tae-Yi would die. The drones would kill him in seconds. Her squad mate, who had studied with her and helped her with tactical homework, despite thinking she was useless, would die. Something snapped inside her. Some barrier between who she was pretending to be and who she really was broke. Apart. Harin moved. She didn't think about the consequences. She just moved with human speed and human strength, launching herself across the catwalk faster than any Valindran possibly could. Her legs pushed off with power that would have seemed impossible for her small frame. She reached Tae-Yi in 3 seconds and threw herself over him just as the drones fired. The energy bolts struck her combat suit's shields, overloading them instantly. Pain shot through her back, but she ignored it. She grabbed Tae-Yi with one arm, her other hand pulling a piece of broken pipe from the catwalk. In one smooth motion, she hurled the pipe like a spear at the nearest drone. The pipe struck the drone's central processor with perfect accuracy. and the machine sparked and died. Harin didn't stop. She pulled Tae behind a support pillar and grabbed his rifle. She fired 3 precise shots at 3 different drones, hitting their optical sensors and blinding them. Then she threw a concussion grenade with calculated force, sending it bouncing off 2 walls before it detonated in the middle of the drone formation. The explosion scattered the drones. Day 1 and Ji Woo used the confusion to attack from their positions, destroying several more machines. Within 30 seconds, all the drones were destroyed or disabled. Silence fell over the chamber, except for the sound of squad members breathing hard inside their helmets. Harin realized what she had done. She looked down at her hands, still gripping Tae's rifle, and felt the disguise crack apart. She had moved too fast, fought too well, revealed abilities that no Valindran possessed. What was that? Day 1's voice was quiet, almost frightened. How did you move like that? Tae sat up, his cybernetic eye focusing on Harin with intense scrutiny. Your speed was 0.73 seconds for 12 meters. Impossible for your species. Your accuracy was 92%. Valindran combat scores average 18%. Your tactical deployment of the grenade required spatial calculations beyond Valindran neural capacity. Ji Woo approached slowly, her skin glowing with confused orange light. I feel your emotions now clearly. You are terrified, but not of the drones. You are terrified of us. What are you hiding? Harin wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. She had saved Tae's life, but destroyed her own mission. The truth was seconds away from being exposed. She started to speak, but stopped. What could she say? What lie would work now? Explain yourself, Day 1 demanded, his hand moving to his weapon. What are you really? Before Harin could answer, her suit computer beeped with an incoming message. She glanced at the display and saw an encrypted text from the scattered. Academy surveillance detected your actions. You are compromised. Extraction team inbound. Get to docking bay 7 within 20 minutes. She had 20 minutes to escape, or she would be captured. The Academy would discover she was human. The scattered would be exposed. Everything would fall apart. But she looked at her squad, at Taji, who she had saved, at Ji Woo, who had been kind to her, even at Day 1, who had protected her despite thinking she was weak. They deserved to know the truth. I need to tell you something, Harin said quietly. But not here. We need to finish the mission first. Get that data core. Then I will explain everything. No, Day 1 growled. You explain now. If we stay here, more drones will come, Harin said. Taji needs medical attention. His leg is damaged. We can argue after we survive. Tae looked at his malfunctioning leg and nodded slowly. She is correct. We should complete the objective. Ji Woo studied Harin's face through their helmet visors. You will tell us the truth? I promise, Harin said. The whole truth, even if you hate me for it. Squad 7 moved through the station in tense silence. They reached the command center, retrieved the data core, and made it back to the shuttle. The entire time, Harin felt their suspicious glances. She had saved them, but lost their trust. As their shuttle flew back to the Academy, Harin looked out the window at the stars and wondered if she would see them again as a free person. Her secret was exposed, and there was no going back now. The only question was what would happen when the truth finally came out. Harin sat in the squad's barracks, her hands shaking as she stared at the floor. Squad 7 stood around her in a semicircle, waiting for answers. She had avoided this moment during their return flight by claiming exhaustion, but now there was no more delay. The door was locked, and they were alone. Speak, Day 1 commanded. His voice was hard, as stone. Harin reached up and touched the control on her neck. The skin suit deactivated with a soft hiss, and the gray Vilindran appearance melted away like smoke. Underneath was her real face, human, dark hair, brown eyes, and skin that was not gray, but a warm natural tone that Ji-Woo gasped and stumbled backward. Tae-Yi's cybernetic eyes zoomed in and out, scanning her frantically. Day One made a sound deep in his throat that might have been fear or anger or both. "You are human," Tae-Yi whispered. "But humans are extinct. Dead for 200 years. We are not dead," Harin said quietly. "We are hiding. We have been hiding since the silence, scattered across the galaxy, pretending to be other species so we can survive." "Impossible," Day One said, but his voice lacked conviction. He had seen her fight. He knew something was different about her dot before Harin could explain further. The barracks door opened without warning. Instructor Kang Dae entered, his reptilian face unreadable. Behind him, 2 security drones floated in standby mode. "Out," Kang Dae ordered Squad 7. "Now." "But sir," Ji-Woo started to protest. "That is a direct command. Initiate. Leave immediately." Day One looked at Harin, and she saw something unexpected in his eyes. Concern. Despite everything, he was worried about her. The 3 squad members left slowly, glancing back until the door closed behind them. Kang Dae stood silent for a long moment, studying Harin with those yellow reptilian eyes. Then he did something shocking. He dismissed the security drones with a hand gesture and sat down heavily on one of the bunks. "I knew what you were the moment I saw the surveillance footage from the derelict station," he said tiredly. "I have seen humans fight before. Long ago, during the border wars. Your species has a particular way of moving, of thinking in combat. It is unmistakable once you know what to look for." Harin felt her throat tighten. "Are you going to arrest me?" "That depends," Kang Dae said. "Why are you here? Is this some kind of human military operation? Are there more of you?" "No," Harin said quickly. "I came alone, sent by survivors who call themselves the Scattered. We just want to know what happened during the silence. Why humans disappeared. Why the galaxy thinks we are extinct." Kang Dae was quiet for so long that Harin thought he might not answer. Then he stood and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. "I was there," he said softly. 210 years ago, I fought alongside human soldiers in the border wars. Your people were remarkable warriors. Adaptable, creative, unwilling to surrender even when defeat seemed certain. We became friends, some of them and I. They taught me to appreciate your strange human concept of jokes and your odd practice of giving gifts for no reason." He turned to face her, and Harin saw something like pain in his expression. Then came the silence. "I was stationed near Earth's sector when it happened. One day, all communication stopped. Every human colony, every ship, every outpost went dark simultaneously. We sent investigation fleets. They found nothing. Empty stations. Abandoned cities. Not a single human anywhere. It was as if your entire species had been erased from existence." "But what caused it?" Rin asked desperately. "Disease? War? Some natural disaster?" "None of those things," Kang Dae said. "It was deliberate. It was the Concordat." Harin felt the words hit her like a physical blow. The Galactic Concordat? The ruling council? Why would they do that? Kang Dae walked to a computer terminal and entered several commands. A holographic display appeared, showing classified files marked with the highest security clearances. "Because humans were dangerous," he said. "Not because you were violent, but because you were changing everything too quickly. Your technology advanced faster than any species in recorded history. Your philosophy of individual rights and democracy threatened the established power structures. Worst of all, you were discovering ancient technologies that the elder species had kept hidden for millennia. He pulled up an image of a device Harin didn't recognize. It looked organic and mechanical at the same time, pulsing with strange energy. This is an Archon artifact, Kang De explained. The Archons are energy beings, the oldest and most powerful species in the galaxy. They founded the Concordat and control it from the shadows. Humans found one of these artifacts in your exploration of the Rim worlds. It was a consciousness transfer device that could free enslaved species from biological limitations. If activated, it would have destabilized the entire galactic social order. Harin tried to process this information. So the Concordat decided to eliminate humanity? Not eliminate, Kang De said. Quarantine. They used Archon technology to seal Earth's sector in a dimensional barrier. Nothing can get in or out without Concordat permission. Any humans outside the barrier were supposed to be captured and placed inside it. But some of you escaped, went into hiding, survived. My grandparents, Harin whispered. They were miners on a station outside the barrier when it happened. They hid, changed their identities, and raised my parents to do the same. Kang De nodded slowly. The Concordat told the galaxy that humans had destroyed themselves in some catastrophic war. It was easier than explaining they had imprisoned an entire species for being too advanced too quickly. Anger burned in Harin's chest. Her people had been erased, hidden away and forgotten, just because they were too good at learning and adapting. It was cruel and unfair, and everything she had suspected but worse. Why are you telling me this? She asked. Why help me? Because I am tired of lies, Kang De said. I have kept this secret for 2 centuries, watching the Concordat cover up their crime. When I saw you on that surveillance footage, fighting to save your squad mate with typical human courage and stubbornness, I remembered my old friends. I remembered what humanity represents. The galaxy needs that again. He gestured at the holographic files. In 1 week, the Academy holds the Gauntlet Trials. It is a legendary competition that happens once every 10 years. The winner gains access to the Vault of Ancients, a repository of pre-silence knowledge and technology. Inside that vault is complete proof of what the Concordat did to your people. If you could win the trials and access the vault, you could expose the truth to the entire galaxy. Harin stood up, her mind racing. But I am exposed now. You know what I am? Security probably knows too. Security will know what I tell them, Kang De said. I will file a report saying you are Velindran with unusual genetic modifications, nothing more. But you cannot hide anymore. If you want to compete in the trials, you must do it as yourself. As human, they will try to stop me, Harin said. Yes, Kang De agreed. Director Byung-ho is an Archon. He will know what you are and what you represent. He will do everything in his power to prevent you from reaching the vault. The trials are dangerous even in normal circumstances. This year, they may be deadly. Harin thought about running. The Scattered had offered extraction. She could escape right now, go back into hiding, live a quiet life pretending to be someone else. It would be safe and easy. But she thought about her parents who died never seeing Earth, about all the humans scattered across the galaxy, hiding their true nature every single day, about the crime that had been committed against her entire species and covered up for 200 years. I will compete, she said firmly. I will win the trials and get into that vault. The galaxy deserves to know the truth. Kang De smiled, showing rows of sharp reptilian teeth. Spoken like a true human. Brave and perhaps a little foolish. But that is why I always liked your species. The door opened again, and Squad 7 rushed in, having apparently been listening from outside. They stopped when they saw Harin's real face under the lights, no longer hidden by the disguise. "So it is true," Day One said quietly. "You really are human. A ghost from history." "I am Harin," she said. "Same person you have known for 3 months. Just without the mask." Ji Woo stepped forward cautiously. "You lied to us. You hid who you were." "I had to," Harin said. "Would you have trusted me if you knew I was human?" There was a long silence. Then Tae-yi spoke up. "You saved my life on the derelict station. That action has value regardless of your species. The Thraxian war poems speak of humans as legendary warriors," Day-One added slowly. "It is said that humans never surrendered, never left their comrades behind. Today you proved that truth. You risked exposure to save Tae-yi. That is honorable." Ji Woo's skin glowed with warm yellow light. "I can feel your emotions clearly now, without the dampener. You are afraid and alone, but also determined. You care about your squad. About us." She smiled slightly. "You are not so different from anyone else who wants to protect their family." Harin felt tears threatening, but held them back. "I have to compete in the gauntlet trials. I have to win. But I cannot do it alone." The 3 members of Squad 7 looked at each other, some silent communication passing between them. Then Day One stepped forward and placed his clawed hand on Harin's shoulder. "Then Squad 7 will compete together," he said. "For honor, for truth, and because you are our teammate, human or not." Harin smiled. And for the first time since arriving at the academy, she felt like she might actually have a chance. The announcement echoed through every speaker in the academy. The gauntlet trials would begin in 3 days. 30 squads had registered to compete. Only one would reach the vault. Harin trained harder than ever before, but now she didn't have to hide her abilities. She ran at full human speed, lifted weights that would have crushed a Velindran, and showed her squad the combat techniques that humans had developed over thousands of years of warfare. Day One was impressed. Ji Woo was fascinated. Tae-yi calculated that their squad's chances of success had increased by 47%. But news of a human at the academy spread like fire through dry grass. Some students stared at Harin with curiosity. Others looked at her with fear or hatred. The Concordat's propaganda had painted humans as dangerous and unstable, a species that destroyed itself. Many believed those lies. On the second day of training, a squad of Nephalax students cornered Harin in a hallway. Nephalax were apex predators, tall and powerful, with sharp teeth and reflexes like lightning. Their leader was named Su-jin, a female with dark stripes across her face and cold eyes. "So the extinct species returns," Su-jin said, circling Harin like prey. "How interesting. I have reported your presence to my family. They have connections to the Concordat. They are very curious about you." "I am just a student," Harin said calmly, though her heart raced. "Competing in the trials like everyone else." "No," Su-jin hissed. "You are an abomination. Humans should have stayed dead. Whatever you are planning, it will fail. I will make sure of that personally." Before Harin could respond, Day One appeared from around the corner with the rest of Squad 7. The Thraxian warrior placed himself between Harin and the Nephalax, his mandibles clicking in aggressive challenge. "You threaten our squad mate," Day One said. "That is a challenge to Squad 7. Do you accept combat, or will you walk away?" Su-jin studied them for a moment, and smiled with too many teeth. "I will see you in the trials, human, when there are no instructors to protect you." She left with her squad, but Harin knew this was just the beginning. The Concordat now knew she existed. They would try to eliminate her before she could reach the vault. That night, Instructor Kong Dae visited their barracks with urgent news. "Director Boon Ho has declared special interest in this year's trials. As an Archon, he rarely involves himself directly in Academy matters. His attention on this event is not coincidence. He knows about Harin, Tei stated. Yes, Kande confirmed. And he will do everything within his power to ensure she does not reach the vault. The trials have rules, but accidents happen. Deaths are not uncommon. Be extremely careful. The day of the trials arrived with ceremony and pageantry. Thousands of spectators filled the grand arena, and broadcasts were sent across the galaxy. 30 squads assembled on the arena floor while Director Byung-ho floated above them. His energy form contained in a humanoid shape that glowed with pale blue light. Welcome to the Gauntlet Trials. His voice resonated through everyone's minds. A telepathic communication that felt cold and ancient. You will face 3 challenges. The first is the Void Labyrinth. It is a structure that exists partially outside normal space. Navigation is difficult. Survival is not guaranteed. You have 6 hours. Any squad that fails to exit within that time will be lost forever. Harin looked at the massive doorway that had appeared in the center of the arena. It led to darkness that seemed to swallow light itself. This was going to be worse than any training exercise. Squads will enter at 1-minute intervals, Byung-ho continued. Squad 7, you will enter last? Harin understood immediately. They were being given a disadvantage, sent in after everyone else had already navigated the labyrinth. Any traps or dangers would be waiting for them. They watched as squad after squad entered the doorway and vanished into darkness. Some squads emerged hours later, exhausted and injured. Others never came out at all. The spectators cheered or gasped with each success or failure. Finally, Squad 7's turn arrived. Harin checked her equipment one last time, then looked at her teammates. Stay together. Trust each other. We can do this. They stepped through the doorway. The Void Labyrinth was impossible to describe properly. Corridors twisted in directions that shouldn't exist. Gravity changed randomly, sometimes pulling sideways or upward. Colors were wrong, sounds echoed strangely, and time felt unstable. Harin's human mind struggled to process what she was seeing. My sensors are malfunctioning, Tei reported. I cannot map our location accurately. I feel fear everywhere, Ga-Wu said, her skin flickering with distressed purple light. This place is full of old pain and death. They moved carefully through the shifting corridors. Several times they encountered other squads, fighting strange creatures that had somehow gotten trapped in the labyrinth over the years. Once they found a dead end that suddenly opened into a new path when day one touched a wall. Hours passed. Harin was starting to worry they wouldn't find the exit in time when she heard something. Voices ahead. Weapons charging. Ambush, she said quietly. They rounded a corner and found Sujin's squad waiting for them. The Nephalax were positioned at a narrow choke point, the only path forward. Hello, human, Sujin said. You have 2 choices. Turn back and be lost forever in this maze, or try to pass through us. Either way, you do not reach the vault. The trials have rules, Day One growled. Squads are not supposed to attack each other. Accidents happen in the Void Labyrinth, Sujin replied. Who can say what really occurred? Besides, I have been promised immunity for dealing with this problem. She meant Byung-ho. The Archon director had given her permission to kill. Squad 7. Harin felt anger burn through her fear. This was exactly what the Concordat had done to her people. Eliminated them secretly, called it an accident, and covered up the truth. She was tired of being afraid, tired of hiding. Tei, can you cause a localized gravity disruption? She asked quietly. The Mechari's eye flickered with calculation. Yes, but it would affect all of us equally. Good, Harin said. On my signal. Day 1, Iwu. Grab onto something solid when I say now. She stepped forward to face Sujin. I will give you one chance. Move aside. We are all trying to complete the trials. There is no reason to fight. Your existence is reason enough, Sujin hissed. Humans are a mistake that should have stayed corrected. Now! Harin shouted. Tae activated his gravity disruptor. Everyone in the corridor suddenly became weightless, floating in chaotic confusion. But Squad 7 was ready. They had grabbed support structures. Sujin's squad had not. Harin pushed off the wall with human strength, flying through the zero-gravity space like a missile. She struck one Nephalax warrior and sent him spinning into a wall. Day 1 launched himself at another, his Thoraxian strength overwhelming. Ji Woo used her empathic abilities to broadcast pure fear into the minds of their enemies, disorienting them further. The fight was short and brutal. Within seconds, Sujin's squad was scattered and disabled, floating helplessly in zero gravity. Harin caught Sujin by the throat and pulled them face to face. You think humans are dangerous because we fight? Harin said. You are wrong. Humans are dangerous because we never give up. We adapt, we survive, and we protect our friends. Remember that. She pushed Sujin away gently, then Tae restored normal gravity. Sujin's squad collapsed to the floor, defeated but alive. Squad 7 continued through the labyrinth, leaving their enemies behind. They found the exit just as their time was running out and emerged into the arena to surprise cheers from the spectators. Only 8 squads had survived the first challenge. Squad 7 was one of them, but Harin's face was being broadcast across the entire galaxy now. Everyone could see her clearly. Human. Impossible. A live dot in his private observation booth. Director Byung-ho watched with cold calculation. The human had survived the first challenge. But there were 2 more trials remaining, and he had plenty of time to arrange an accident. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena. The second trial will commence tomorrow. Rest well, competitors. You will need your strength for what comes next. Harin looked up at Byung-ho's booth and saw him staring directly at her. She did not look away. She was done hiding, done being afraid. Tomorrow she would face whatever came next, and she would survive it the way humans always survive. By refusing to quit. The galaxy was talking about nothing except the human at the Celestial Apex Institute. News channels showed Harin's face constantly. Scientists debated whether humans could really have survived the silence. Politicians argued about what her existence meant for the Concordat's historical records. Across hundreds of worlds, hidden humans watched the broadcasts and wondered if they should finally reveal themselves. Harin barely slept that night. She knew the second trial would be worse than the first. Byung-ho would not make the same mistake twice. He would try to kill her, probably in a way that looked like an accident. She had to be ready for anything. Morning came too quickly. Squad 7 assembled in the arena with the 7 other surviving squads. The crowd was even larger today, with beings from across the galaxy arriving to witness the human who shouldn't exist. Director Byung-ho appeared above them, his energy form pulsing with cold power. The second trial is simple. Combat. Each squad will face challenges designed to test your strength, skill, and teamwork. Surrender is permitted. Death is possible. Begin. The arena floor opened up, and each squad was lowered into separate underground chambers. Squad 7 found themselves in a circular room with metal walls and bright lights. A doorway opened on the far side, and something massive stepped through. It was a combat robot, 3 meters tall, covered in armor plating, and armed with energy weapons. Its optical sensors locked onto Squad 7, and it raised its weapons. Defensive positions. Day 1 shouted. They scattered as the robot opened fire. Energy bolts scorched the walls and floor. Harin rolled behind a metal pillar and returned fire with her rifle, but the bullets bounced harmlessly off the robot's armor. This thing was designed to kill them. Te analyzed the robot while dodging attacks. Its armor is too strong for our weapons. We need to hit the joints or the power core in its back. I will get its attention, Day One said. The Thoraxian warrior charged forward, using his natural armor to absorb several hits. He struck the robot with his claws, leaving deep scratches, but not disabling it. The robot grabbed him and threw him across the room. Ji Woo used her empathic abilities to broadcast confusion at the robot, but machines did not have emotions. Her power was useless here. Harin studied the robot's movements, looking for patterns. Humans were good at finding patterns, at seeing weaknesses others missed. She noticed that every time the robot fired its right arm weapon, its left knee joint locked for half a second. That was the opening she needed. Tae-yi, can you overload your cybernetic arm to create an electromagnetic pulse? She asked. Yes, but it will permanently damage my systems. Do it when I give the signal. Called Wu, when the robot is disabled, use your bioluminescence at maximum brightness. Blind its sensors. Day One, be ready to strike the power core. Harin ran out from cover, deliberately making herself a target. The robot focused all its weapons on her. She dodged and weaved, using human agility to stay ahead of the energy bolts by fractions of seconds. She counted the shots. 3, 2, 1. The robot fired its right weapon. Its left knee locked. Now. Harin screamed. Tae released his electromagnetic pulse. The robot's systems went haywire, sparking and stuttering. Ji Woo's skin erupted with blinding light, overloading the robot's optical sensors. Day One leaped onto the robot's back and tore into the power core with his claws. The robot collapsed. Defeated. Squad 7 stood breathing hard, victorious but exhausted. They had won, but Harin noticed something wrong. The doorway to the next chamber was not opening. Instead, the walls were starting to glow red hot. The temperature was rising rapidly. They are going to cook us alive, Tae said with shocking calmness. Harin understood. This was not a test. This was an execution. Byung-ho was going to murder Squad 7 and call it a training accident. The heat was already becoming unbearable. Her skin burned. There must be a way out, Ji Woo said desperately, searching the walls. The ceiling, Harin said, pointing upward. There are ventilation panels. Weak points. If we can break through, we might reach the main arena. Too high, Daewon said. Even I cannot reach them. Harin looked at her squad. Make a tower. Day One on bottom, then Tae, then Ji Woo. I am lightest. I will climb up and break through. They formed the tower quickly as the room grew hotter. The metal floor was burning their feet. Harin climbed up her teammates, reached the ceiling panel, and punched it with all her human strength. Once, twice, 3 times. Her knuckles broke, but she kept hitting. The panel cracked, then shattered. She pulled herself through the opening, then reached back down to help her squad climb up. They emerged not in another trial chamber, but in the maintenance corridors above the arena. We have to get back to the main arena floor, Harin said. If we stay hidden, Byung-ho will claim we died in the trial. They ran through the corridors until they found a door leading to the arena. Harin kicked it open and Squad 7 burst through, peering directly in front of thousands of spectators who thought they were watching. Squad 7 die on the monitors. The crowd went silent with shock. Then someone started cheering. Then more voices joined. Within seconds, the entire arena was roaring with approval. Squad 7 had survived what was clearly an assassination attempt, and everyone had seen it. Director Byung-ho descended from his observation position. his energy form crackling with barely controlled anger. You were supposed to complete the trial in your assigned chamber. You have violated the rules. You violated the rules by trying to murder us, Harin shouted back, her voice amplified by the arena speakers. Everyone saw what happened. You overheated that chamber deliberately. You tried to kill me because I am human, because I threaten the Concordat's lies. The crowd murmured. Byung-ho's form flickered. You are mistaken. It was a malfunction. Equipment failure. Then why are you so afraid of one human? Harin demanded. If my species is really extinct, if we really destroyed ourselves like you claim, why do you need to kill me? What are you hiding? Instructor Kong Dae suddenly appeared on the arena floor, carrying a datapad. Perhaps I can answer that question. I have evidence here that explains everything. Byung-ho's form pulsed with alarm. Instructor, you will be silent. No, Kong Dae said firmly. I have been silent for 200 years. That ends today. He activated the datapad and projected holographic files across the arena for everyone to see. These are classified Concordat documents from the time of the silence. They show that humanity was deliberately quarantined and erased from galactic records. Not because humans were dangerous to themselves, but because they were dangerous to the established power structure. The crowd erupted with shocked voices. Byung-ho moved toward Kong Dae threateningly. You are committing treason. I am revealing the truth, Kong Dae replied. Something the Concordat should have done centuries ago. Day 1. Ji Woo and Tai Yi stepped forward to stand with Harin and Kong Dae. A defensive formation. Then other students began moving forward too. First one squad, then another. Soon dozens of students surrounded them, creating a protective barrier. The trials are not finished, Byung-ho said, his voice like ice. There is still one challenge remaining. If the human wants to prove her species deserves recognition, let her face the final trial, single combat against a champion of my choosing. If she wins, she may access the Vault of Ancients and discover whatever truths she seeks. If she loses, she and all her supporters will be expelled from this academy and prosecuted for spreading false information. Harin knew this was a trap, but she also knew it was her only chance. I accept. Who is your champion? Byung-ho smiled coldly. The best warrior in this academy, myself. The crowd gasped. An Archon was immensely powerful, far beyond any physical species. This was not a fair fight. This was an execution with extra steps. Director, you cannot, Kong Dae protested. The rules forbid direct combat between students and administrators. I am waiving those rules, Byung-ho said. Unless the human wishes to surrender? Harin looked at her squad. At Day 1, who had learned to respect her. At Ji Woo, who had learned to trust her. At Tai Yi, who had learned to value her. At Kong Dae, who risked everything to help her. She thought about all the hidden humans watching across the galaxy, hoping for a chance to finally come home. I will fight, Harin said. For my species. For the truth. And for everyone who ever had to hide who they really are. The arena was cleared. Combat armor was brought for Harin, while Byung-ho's energy form condensed into a more solid shape. The fight would begin in 1 hour. It would be broadcast across the entire galaxy. Harin sat in the preparation room, checking her armor and weapons. Her squad stayed with her, refusing to leave despite the danger. You do not have to do this alone, Daewon said. We can help you fight. No, Harin said. He wants to prove humans are weak. I have to face him myself. But thank you for being my friends, for standing with me, even when it was dangerous. That is what squads do, Ji Woo said simply. The hour passed too quickly. Harin walked into the arena and faced Byung-ho across the combat floor. The Archon radiated power, his energy form crackling with ancient force. "Last chance to surrender, human," Byung-ho said. "I will make your death quick if you yield now." Harin drew her weapons and took a fighting stance. "Humans do not surrender. We adapt. We survive. You are about to remember why your Concordat feared us." The signal sounded. The fight began. Byung-ho attacked with energy blasts that could vaporize metal. Harin dodged with human reflexes, rolling and weaving. She fired back, but her weapons did nothing to an energy being. She needed a different strategy. She ran toward the arena walls, using them to push off and change direction unpredictably. Byung-ho followed, firing constantly. Harin led him in circles, making him waste energy. She was testing his limits, learning his patterns. After 3 minutes of constant dodging, she saw what she needed. Byung-ho's energy form was dimming slightly. He was not infinite. He could be exhausted. Harin changed tactics. She stopped running and faced him directly. "Is this all you have? 200 years of hiding from humanity, and you cannot even catch one human student?" Byung-ho roared with anger and unleashed a massive energy wave. Harin barely raised her shield in time. The blast sent her flying across the arena, crashing into a wall. Her armor was cracked. Her body screamed with pain, but she stood up. Byung-ho attacked again. Harin took the hit and stood up again, and again, and again. Each time she fell, she got back up. Her armor was destroyed. Her weapons were gone. She was bleeding and burned. But she would not stay down. "Why do you not die?" Byung-ho screamed in frustration. "Because I am human," Harin said, spitting blood. "We are too stubborn to quit." Byung-ho gathered all his remaining power for one final attack. A blast that would surely kill her. Harin had no defense left, no trick remaining, but she did not need one. As Byung-ho fired, Harin's squad jumped into the arena despite the rules. Bae-won raised his armored body as a shield. Ji-woo channeled all her bioluminescence to disrupt the energy. Tae-yi used his cybernetics to create a magnetic field. Together, they protected Harin from the blast. "Enough!" Instructor Kang Bae roared, and he was not alone. Dozens of instructors had entered the arena, surrounding Byung-ho. "This has gone beyond any reasonable trial. You are trying to murder a student. We will not allow it." Byung-ho looked around at the rebellion forming against him. His power was depleted from the fight. He was outnumbered and outmatched. "The Concordat will hear of this," he hissed. "Let them hear," Kang Dae said. "The truth is already spreading across the galaxy. You cannot stop it now." Harin limped forward to stand before the Vault of Ancients. The door recognized her as the trial survivor and opened. Inside were data cores containing complete records of the silence, proof of everything the Concordat had done. She connected the data to the arena's broadcast system. Within seconds, billions of beings across the galaxy saw the truth. The quarantine of Earth, the erasure of human records, the deliberate cover-up, all of it exposed. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 year later, Harin stood on a ship approaching Earth. The quarantine barrier had been deactivated under pressure from a reformed Concordat. Beside her were Day 1, Ji-woo, and Tae-yi. Squad 7 together until the end. Earth appeared in the viewport, scarred by 2 centuries of isolation, but alive. Cities glowed on the night side. Human cities, rebuilt in secret while the galaxy thought them dead. Ready to go home? Ji-woo asked. Harin smiled, thinking about her parents who never got to see this moment. About all the hidden humans who could finally stop pretending to be something else. About the truth that changed everything. "Yes," she said. "Let us go home." The ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, carrying the first open humans to return in 200 years. The secret was over. Humanity was back, and the galaxy would have to make room for them once again.